Hello, everyone. I think I'm live, ready to go. This is a postseason preview of the Champions League playoffs. So we're done with the regular season. All the games are done, and now me and my good friend, in fact, my best friend, my whole life, Shadowfax. You can say hello.
I'm honored. Hello, JJ.
He is with me.
Thank you for letting me join you.
He is with me. Probably not as well dressed as I am. I've got my suit and my button up on, just because this is a very formal, official occasion. And
What?
huh?
I also suited up.
You are not. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I'm pulling you down.
You're probably sitting in your pajamas. But anyway, we are here to bring you
Yeah.
guys up to speed on what has happened in the regular season and then to do a playoff preview for you guys. Might take maybe 30, 40 minutes. We'll see. First things first, I think it's important to look at how the divisions ended in both the Champions League and the Challengers. We'll warn you if you're not up to date and you're waiting for Boit to upload and he's like 4 weeks behind. This will be some spoilers, so you may want to just, if you don't want to be spoiled, you're still watching some regular season games, you might want to wait till later. But if not, full speed ahead into the standings. Looking at the champion division, I don't know, Shadowfax, if you got my stream up to take a look at what I'm looking at. I guess I could have done a
Yep.
screen share. You might be like
I've
10
got it.
you might be like 10 seconds behind me. But the Earthquake division and the Implode division, these are 14 players who were in the Champions division for this season. I think I've got the table up to date. You can see the series wins. No, I don't quite have it up to date. Both Chemo and Gotti both lost and then didn't play each other because of reasons. So we kind of arbitrarily said Chemo got second and Scotty third. But I think the big surprise to me this season is Matrius at 6-0. What do you think?
No surprise for me. He's a
Ooh.
beast.
Yeah.
Very strong. He doesn't really have any weaknesses, like maybe Egyptian, but he's one of the best players against Egyptian, proving himself against Chemo.
Yeah, but see, he kept I think maybe the last couple of big tournaments he lost to Chemo. I might
Yeah,
be
he did,
wrong.
but he also beat Chemo in the winners bracket of the best, and Chemo went down.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? So yeah, I mean, I thought he'd at least. I thought Chemo would still reign supreme. But obviously it didn't happen. And Matrius, he did drop just a couple games. But yeah, 6-0, the only champion to not lose a series, was pretty good. And otherwise, other than the top three players in that division, the rest were a little bit of a step behind. The Rapple beat Supe in the last match of the season. The winner of that would have advanced, so that's why we see Rapple came through and beat Supe at the end of the season. What did you think of that match? Did you think Rapple would win, or what did you think?
Ooh. I was very unsure at first because Supe is like an expert in Norse mirrors, but Rapal pulled out some nice training. He prepared for the matches, and he actually got the faster advances on the day, which mattered.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think because it was all Norse mirrors, and I think in Norse
Hmm.
mirrors, it's pretty important to start fast. Otherwise, you fall behind quickly. The other division, the Implode division, we had Shelty at 5-1, Player 4-2, and then the rest of the division was like end of the last week was just completely up in the air. And eventually, what happened in the last week was Nyan won his last two series on the last 2 days. You go essentially from like sixth to third. And then Redo dropped a series against Grand Monster on the second to last day. And that's what cost Redo. Redo looked actually really good all season and then dropped that last. And it was a big match against Grand Monster, too, because that put Redo at the bottom of all of the tiebreakers there. Nyan beat both Grand Monster and Redo, which is why he got placed third. And then, which then left Grandmaster and Redo together, and Grandmaster beat Redo, which is how Grandmaster got 4th. So Redo, actually, I think he was the only one in that division, I believe, to beat Shelty. So he beats the top
I
player.
thought Grand Monster beat Shelty.
Oh, let me look. I'm looking at last season.
I'm not certain.
Yes,
about
no,
that,
it was.
though.
You're
Maybe
right. It was
maybe Redo.
Grandmaster. It was You're right. You're right. That's why I got you. You got to keep me honest. But yeah, Redo, he placed second last year, so to see him not quite make the playoffs, that was a surprise.
Yeah, that's a bit of a surprise. Unfortunate for Redo.
Yeah. So we'll just move right on to the bracket then for our playoffs. It's a little bit bright, but that's okay. Easier to see. And this is our bracket for the Champion League playoffs. It is seeded, so number 1 would play number 4 of the opposite division, and then number 2 plays number 3. So you can see Matrius up at the top is the number 1 seed playing Grand Monster number 4, and then you have Shelty versus Rapple is the other 1 versus 4 on the bottom. So we'll go into predictions later, so we don't really need to predict the matchups here. But I mean, all these matchups I think will be pretty solid, just going forward. So I think it'll be a fun playoff series. But we can get into now just series by series, and we'll start with Grand Monster versus Matrius. And oh man, hold on, let me give a call out to it looks like maybe One Poop. It doesn't show me in the chat. Maybe it was One Poop donated 5 subscriptions. Appreciate that. Hello Zebchi, good to have you on board. Man, if you haven't watched the games here, you're gonna see a lot of spoilers, Zebchi, but that's okay. Good to see you guys on board. But yeah, Matrius versus Grand Monster. And just real quick, I'll go over the playoff settings for everybody. So in the playoffs, all of the maps are preset ahead of time. There's no home maps. There's no random maps. I mean, the selection itself is random. So basically, I throw in, a Zebchi. Oh, thank you, man. All right. Appreciate it. I just saw One Poop say he loved me and then a bunch of gifted subs. But I appreciate that, man. But yeah, anyway, so I randomize it. It's kind of complicated. But basically, I randomize. It's basically a blender. I throw the maps into a blender, and then we get these things, and then I kind of manipulate the matchups to make sure there's not too many of like the same type of map in it. So that's kind of how it happens. And then each matchup also has one non-standard map, and we see here it's game 1 at Fields of Punishment. So best of 5, single elimination, open god choice, and Matrius versus Grand Monster. So I'm going to write down our prediction, Shadowfax, so I can rub it in later when I do better than you.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So Mariano versus Grand Monster. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this one isn't too out wild, but I think Grand Monster loses to Mariano. And
Matrius.
I'm going for... Then we're going to have to do the scores, too. I think Grand Monster will get 1 win. It'll be 3-1. Grand Monster loses.
3-1, yeah.
3-1. What do you say? Writing it down.
I'm gonna say Matrius wins 3-2.
3-2. Okay. I wrote my thing down.
And I could probably guess the wins on the map.
Oh, we don't need to get all into that, but yeah. So Matrius, he plays Poseidon. Do you think he's gonna go off of Poseidon at all?
Actually, sometimes he does.
But do you think he will in these games?
I think that's a bit risky. I think sometimes he tries Norse. Maybe he's been training some set lately. Maybe he pulls out a set on Tundra. But apart from that, I think he's going to stick with Poseidon.
Yeah, because Fields of Punishment, that actually is a good set map too. It's got a ton of boar to convert. It's kind of an open land map with just a lot of boar. So we could see maybe a little bit of something different going on there. I think if we do get to a game 5, I think Grandmaster would have a pretty tough time winning. But Yeah, well, we're in agreement so far. I should have it like like a hand me a ballot or something, and I can open it. But yeah, Matrius real good all season. It would be hard to say that he's gonna lose in the first match. That would be a bit of a surprise. Um, you got any other comments on
Yeah, the
that?
Grand Monster beat Shelty and Redo.
Oh yeah, he did. I mean, he beat the number one in his division. Can he beat the number one in the other division? Hey, Grandmaster,
Exactly.
I feel like was a little bit like inconsistent. Like he beat some good players and then lost to like some of the players that finished towards the bottom of his division. So kind of inconsistent. So has the ability. Will he do it? Don't know. Let's move on to the next one. Number 1 versus 4. Shelty versus the Rapple. And other than the Medit, I like this set of maps. I think it's a fun set of maps, especially Borderlands is map number 1. If you're not familiar with Borderlands, players start on each side of a little narrow tree line, and it's pretty high hunt and also pretty aggressive, I feel like. And I think this will be fun. A fun series to watch. But I think Shelty does outclass Rapple, and the one thing Shelty can do is play a lot of gods. And the Rapple is basically only Odin. So the bad thing for like the Rapple is that he's kind of going probably Odin every series. Shelty, since he can pick different gods, will probably pick and choose based on the map, and that'll give him an advantage, I think. Pretty significant. What's your opinion?
Well, I like the maps for Rapal. Those are some excellent maps for Odin. You got Borderlands, the first one, Marsh, and then Blue Lagoon are all excellent Odin maps. Shelty might think of taking a Iranos on Oasis, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, unfortunately though, I don't even know if I want to be generous. I'm giving Shelty a 3-0 here.
Oof.
3-0.
I can't do that because one Rapal is a vanilla player that I trained personally, so
Oh.
I'm gonna give Rapal the 1-3. Maybe 3. Yeah, 1-3. I think Shelty takes it 3-1.
All right, all right. Here's my thing with Rapple. I think Shelty will abuse him in game 1, and then I think Rapple will get a little bit triggered. Just a prediction. But it could go any way. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, it'll be fun regardless. And then Rapple, I gotta call him out though. He's kind of the perfect perfect what am I looking for? Perfect example of what this league is about. Where last season he was in the challengers and he promoted, and now this season, after promoting from challengers, now he's in the playoffs. So that's what's cool about this. This is an event, an ongoing kind of legacy event that gives players the opportunity to kind of prove themselves into, as they also advance, that they can advance then their standing in the tournament. So that's cool to see that Rapple went from challengers to champions and now to the playoffs, and see what he does from there. But our next matchup is a number 2 versus a number 3. Scotty versus Player. This one, I think, can go either way. I don't know how to call it. It's close. I mean, both players looked pretty solid. I think Scotty looked a little bit better during the regular season. So you can see Player 4-2 series record, but he was 9-7 overall, which isn't a super good game score for being 4-2. So a lot of his series were close. What are your first thoughts on this matchup, given especially the maps that we've got? Too?
What's the first map?
The first map, oh, I'm glad you asked. The first map is actually a new map. I think it'll be the first time it'll ever be played in a competitive tournament. It's think of Anatolia, but rotated 90 degrees so that the water is behind each player. And there's usually about 6 or 7 fish. So they get
Yeah, I think
a free 6 or 7
I think
fish.
I've actually
Sorry, go ahead.
played this map before. Sorry for interrupting.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine.
We did it on Merge, I think, once.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a pretty awesome map.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's not the two players aren't as far apart as Anatolia. They're a little bit closer. So even though you get free fish, it's not like it's a really big boomy map because all the gold is forward, all the town centers are forward. So I think I'm excited to watch, and see how it goes. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, it should be a good map.
Yeah, should be pretty good. Otherwise, I think it's a nice. I think they got a real nice set of maps too. I mean, a nice variety. You got Watering Hole, which is a little bit more defensive, boomy. You've got Savannah, which is wide open. Ghost Lake can kind of vary just depending on the hunt amounts. But hey, I'll let you pick first. You can give me some thoughts if you got some more thoughts, and then give me a prediction.
Oh, I don't know these players too well, so I won't be too confident in this prediction. But
You still got to make one.
uh, I think player's pretty good against Greek and Egyptian, and that's generally what Scotty means. Although he does know Iranos as well. I think player's
Mm-hmm.
also very good against Iranos. So for me, I think player's probably going to win this one 3-1.
Ooh, 3-1. I'm going the other way here. We're gonna have our first player diversion. I'm going with Scotty, and I think he'll win. I think he'll win 3-1.
You probably know the players
I'm also old and have dementia, so who knows? Who knows?
better.
But yeah, I think it'll be. I think it'll be close games. But I just think Scotty. I mean, he looked really good during the regular season. He lost 2-1 to Matrius, and he probably should have won it. I think that game on Marsh. I think he probably should have won that. So he almost 2-0'd him, and then lost the last two. So I think Scotty will win. But yeah, let's move on to our last of the actual postseason as far as the playoffs. And it's Chemo versus Nyan Racing Cat. France versus Canada. King Chemo, who has won the first 2 events that me and Boyd have run. And now we're in the 3rd event. Can he do it again? 3 in a row? Or will he be dethroned? Probably. Now, this map set is pretty good for Chemo. In fact, Chemo has been playing Anatolia for a home map. And it's going to be tough for Nyan. I mean, the problem with Nyan, not that he's a good player, but he only can play Atlantean at a high level. And that can start hurting you because there are some matchups where Atlantean isn't going to be super great. And Anatolia is one of those maps. I think he maybe could also struggle on like Painted Desert too, and probably Alfheim. Drenched River is a big map. But what do you think?
Yeah, really good maps for Chemo. Niam might stand a good chance on Oasis if he plays Iranos well.
Yeah.
And I don't know about Drenched River, might be pretty good for Iranos because it's quite a lot of hunt.
Yeah, what is kind of important about Drenched River is you typically players spawn in the corner, which makes all of the gold spawn forward. I picked it as my home map, and it was a really dumb idea. It's probably one of the dumbest decisions I've made in 2021. And I got absolutely hammered by Iranos. So I think Nyan could do something. The problem is he's playing Chemo. And
Yeah.
and hammering Chrono JJ on Drenched River is a whole lot easier than hammering Chemo. So yeah. But predictions.
Ooh. Am I going first or you?
I went first the first 2 times. You can go first this time.
All right. Chemo takes it 3-0.
And that's what I've got too. I'd love to. I'd love to give Nyan. Maybe I should just give Nyan a win because he's also a person that I'm also glad to see in the Champions playoffs because he was in Challengers the first season and promoted. So he's done a lot of work to get to this point, but I think it'll be tough.
Yeah, the map set's really rough for him.
It is.
Is Cronus viable on Anatolia against ISIS?
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, that's like I said, that is the downside. The way this works as far as the randomly preset, I think it can favor players who play many gods, but I think it should though, because in my opinion, if in 2021, now that the game's been out 18 years, I think the top players should, at this point, you should be able to play. If you want to be considered like a top player, you should be able to play a lot of gods well. My opinion.
For sure.
People may disagree.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I mean, it's not like this game is a mystery where you're like, dang, how do I win with Iranos? Or, ooh, Odin, what am I supposed to do? You know, it's not like there's a limit of knowledge. It's not like it's pre-internet days like it was back when this game first came out, essentially. I mean, you know what to do by now. But all right, that's the playoffs. So we've got a whole nother set of brackets to look at. And first we'll take a look at the Challengers League. These are the Challengers. So the Challengers, if you kind of missed the whole purpose of this whole league, is you have the Champions Division with the top tier players. You have the Challengers Division with kind of the second tier players who are then trying to work their way to be champions next season. So the Challengers in this year, the top 3 advance to postseason, and they can then advance to the playoffs. So I don't want to take too much time looking at all of these because we're going to go through the games anyway. But you can see I want to call out Ulysses at 5-0 and is 10-0 individual game score. He's the only player in the whole thing that has not lost a game. So he's looking good. But yeah, these were some the fun games here. Some pretty close divisions here for the 3rd and 4th spot everywhere. But let's take a look. Let's just move on to where did I put the bracket? The bracket is right here. Here is our bracket. It's a little bit goofy the way it works, so I'll explain it. It should make sense. On the left are our champions who are potentially relegating. So the bottom 3 in each champion division go into relegations. If you win in round 1, you're safe and you don't demote. If you lose, you move to the second round. If the champion loses the second round, they demote. If they win, they stay. And then this is where we get our promotion/demotion. So the challengers on the right side are looking to win 2 series in a row, because if they win the first series here, they'll move on to the second round. They'll play a champion. If they beat a champion, they promote. The champion demotes. The other kind of difference here is that our number 1s in the challengers, Ulysses and OG and Netty J, kind of have their own special little Challengers League championship game. Whoever wins that automatically promotes. There's no like demoting champion to take the place. They just automatically promote. The loser of this gets a second chance, as you can see towards the middle of the bracket. That way, it's kind of a benefit. Wanted to give the number ones, a little bit of a second opportunity where it's not just one bad series and then they're out. So, they place number one, they get a little bit of a second chance. So there's the bracket. If you got any questions, you can throw them in the chat. I'll be glad to answer. And we'll move on to Sunzu versus MrBoat. Will be a promotion relegation. These are champions potentially losing to relegate. What do you think of this matchup?
I like Sunzu got his favorite map. Game number 2.
He did. He gave me a lot of money under the table to get that.
Did he? Some good Loki maps. So maybe Sunzu's got this one.
Yeah, I mean, and I will say that overall in the season, Sunzu has played actually pretty well. His overall at 7-10 is good for finishing 2-4. He same as last season. For last season, he lost every series 1-2. This season as well, he had a couple 1-2 losses, but he had a few wins too. But yeah, 7-10 overall. That's not a bad score. He beat a lot of players, just didn't quite finish off a couple series. So, and MrBoat didn't play as well as he maybe thought he could have. Maybe he isn't quite as active as he was. I know he trained a lot for the first season, so maybe not quite as much time this season. He finished 1-5 with a 4-10 overall. But yeah, both were in championship last season. Both were in relegations last season. Both were able to win in relegation. What do you think? Who's? I'll let you pick this one first. Any last thoughts?
I think Sunzu is going to win it 3-1.
Well, I'd like to say I'm differing, but I think also Sunzu will win 3-1. I am writing my pick down too before you're saying, just to keep it all honest here. But both play Norse. MrBoat plays some set. I don't know if he won any of his set games this season. Maybe one, but just didn't quite have the season maybe he thought he'd have. But yeah, looking at the maps, I mean, Frozen Wastes, a set could do well there if he does a set. I don't know if you'd play Odin into Loki. Would you play Odin into Loki? I think Sunzu would probably do Loki for most of these games. But did you play Odin into Loki?
Yes, it's an okay matchup, but Frozen Waste is very open, so the hearses can get a lot of value from raiding. So maybe it's not the best map for Odin versus Loki.
Yeah, I think MrBoat will get the win on Anatolia, because I think MrBoat will probably change to Egyptian for that, and I think he could use the Egyptian power to win. But I don't know. I mean, Sunzu's just overall been a little bit better. So I think he finishes out. But yeah, it's a nice set of maps. I like Tundra Pools. It's fun. If you know me, which if you're watching the stream, you probably do because you probably watch me. I love non-standard maps. I wish there were 2 non-standard maps in each set, but maybe cooler heads prevailed. We don't want to make it too wild for the players, but I would love to see 2 non-standard maps, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, same. Let's make it happen.
All right, let's change it up right now. We're changing it all up. But our next series, Redo versus I Kill You Die. Oh, hold on. What is the second map? The second map is Tundra Pools. It's a non-standard map. Each player basically start with 2 pools flanking their base, and each pool has fish in it. So it's kind of a boosted start where you kind of have safe fish, and it makes it a little more aggressive, like you kind of get a big start. But anyway, our next series, so we don't take too long tonight. Redo versus I Kill, You Die. Redo, a player who just missed the playoffs. I Kill, a player who I know he did not have the season he wanted to. He's not very active right now. So I think that's the reason. Because last year he made the playoffs, and this year wasn't close, but he wasn't active. What are your thoughts on the matchup in the maps, Shadowfax?
Well, both the players are very strong, but as you said, I think I Kill You Die maybe not been that active. We got 2 water maps at the end there.
Yeah.
I think Redo's probably knows a bit more gods than I Kill You Die, so maybe he swaps into the Zeus for Midgard and what's it called, Mediterranean. Don't know about Tropical Mirage. Is that kind of an open high hunt map, isn't it? So maybe
It
good for
is.
Norse.
It is. So yeah, it's open high hunt. Gold mines are typically pretty unprotected. Each town center does generally get like giraffe that spawn pretty close to it. I love Tropical Mirage. It's a 10 out of 10 map for me. I love it.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it'll be tough for IKill to beat Redo. Just because, and even though Redo's in relegations, Redo he was just one game away from being in playoffs. He also placed second last season, and IKill just didn't have the season he wanted. But you never know. I mean, IKill he's talented. It's just I don't think he's had the reps, so he could potentially play really good and take some games here. But he'd have to play just more consistent than what he has so far. I'll go first here. And I'm a nice guy. So I'm giving Redo the win, but it's going to be 3-1. IKill, he's going to win the map he's going to win Tropical Mirage.
You think he's going to win Tropical Mirage,
Yep,
eh?
I do. Redo lost that game last season. He'll lose it again this season.
All right. Just to mix it up, I'll go for 3-0 for Redo.
All right. 3-0. Okay. All right. Moving
Though I
on.
Kill You Die does have a mean Ra, so maybe he pulls off Alfheim.
Maybe. We'll see. Moving on. Soup versus Mariano. This will be fun because it's going to be Norse for Soup versus probably mostly Greek for Mariano, and those games tend to be pretty fun to watch. And it's a pretty wild map set. So that first one you might not recognize it as Nile Delta. So basically on the top left of the map is water. So it's almost kind of like Medit in a way. It's just a little bit more open than Medit. So you got the water on the top left with fish, and then you've got decent hunt, and then it's easier to attack, but I still think it plays like Medit. So I think Soup might have a hard time winning that first game. What do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, super strong Norse player, but sometimes he struggles against Greek, so Mariano could definitely do some damage. I haven't really seen the map, but if it's like Mediterranean, then Super could definitely be in trouble because Mediterranean's a tough map for Norse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Painted
go ahead.
Painted Desert's like really good for Norse though, and so is Watering Hole, and so is Tundra, so it balances out.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this map set. It's a nice variety of maps here. I think it'll be fun. This will be a fun series. And Mariano, even though he finished 1-5, he was 6-11 overall individual game score. So he won a good handful of games. Just wasn't quite able to finish his series off. But I'll go first here again, and I like me some Mariano. So I'm giving him a 3-2 victory.
Okay, I'm going to be going for Super this time, 3-1.
3-1. All right.
I think he loses. I think he loses the first game because of the water.
I think Mariano he'll win the first game and he'll win the last two. So that's what I'm going. That's what I'm sticking with. But it'll be fun either way. Um,
Yeah, I think that's going to be one of the most interesting matches to watch. Actually,
yeah, I'm getting a few
I
few.
like a bit of Greek versus Odin, Greek versus Norse.
So far, the people in the chat, one person is agreeing with me and one is agreeing with you. I like it.
Well, Supe is very strong against Iranos, and I know Mariano, he's a Iranos slash Zeus player.
Yeah. Yeah, but all right. So those are the three. What we just did were the three champions um, matches that are potentially relegating. We're gonna move on now to the Challengers Championship. Let me rename that at the top here. The Challengers Championship between Ulysses and OG Nenny J. The name. It means fiery in Russian, I think. Something like that. Maybe.
Okay.
I'm going with it. But yeah, Ulysses versus OG Nenny J. And Ulysses, he, again, as I mentioned a little bit ago, the only player not to lose at all. And OG Nenny J, well, you've got both of us have some information on him because we played him. And you beat him and I lost to him in horrible fashion. And you beat him pretty handily. So what do you think on this matchup? What do you think of the players and how do you think it'll go?
Well, they're both kind of Atlantean players. Isis for Nini slightly, and a bit of Zeus for Ulysses. I think the Zeus and Iranos combo is very strong. So for me, Ulysses probably going to 3-0 it. But I don't really know what that
Whoa!
third map. Oh, I think I do actually. It's a bit of fish in the middle. Maybe a bit of Kronos action there.
You're going with 3-0, huh?
3-0, yeah. I think Ulysses won't drop a game.
One thing I have noted is that Ulysses has been playing super well lately, and he's been playing a variety of gods. So he's really active. But OG Nenny J, he's active too. And the one thing I will say about OG Nenny J, and it was kind of when I was playing him a little bit worried, is he's crafty. He's young and crafty. He spends quite a bit of time just thinking. I can tell he prepares quite a bit. So I think he could steal a win, but I think skill wise he is outmatched. But I think he can get a win, but I don't think he'll get enough. So I'm gonna go with Ulysses 3-1 here. And if you don't know what that third map is, it's called Calm Shores. It's a little bit different because this is a map that is mirrored. So what appears on one side has an exact replica on the other side. So we're throwing that in. We think it's something that can work a little bit. And we'll see how it goes. So yeah, if you see your gold mine is on the top left, in your viewpoint, the enemy gold mine will be on the bottom right closest to you. But basically, if you were to rotate the map 180 degrees, it would be exactly the same. So there is some water on the sides. I think it's a fun map, though. It's a cool design. But yeah, I'm gonna go 3-1. I think OG Nenny J wins game 3. I think he'll prepare more for it, but I don't know if he'll be able to pick up wins on the other ones. Next is Dauber versus Shelby. I don't know what to call Thomas Shelby because it seems like he changes his name every like 2 months. So I don't know. We're gonna go with Thomas Shelby. Dauber versus Thomas Shelby. Dauber got third in his division, 7-6 overall. Shelby finished second, 7-5 overall. He plays Norse. Dauber plays Ra, and almost only Ra. So, what do you think of these players? If you're super familiar with them, give me some opinion.
Norse against Ra, 3-0 for Dauber, easy.
Man,
I just think it's a bit of a rough matchup. As soon as you see a rock, just yeah.
Yeah, I think Shelby will have a hard time, but I don't think it's going to be a 3-0. I don't even think. I'll be honest with you. I don't even think that Daber's gonna win.
Ooh, we got
I
another.
I don't. I think that Shelby will win game 2 and game 3, and then game 5. Because
Okay.
I think a defensive Ra on game 1 can work, and I think Shelby might go off main. A Kronos on Lumber Camp. That's the second map, which has that. It has a narrow strip of water kind of connecting players. I think he might go off God and maybe take a win there. And then I think he wins Savannah. And then I think Marsh, it'll go down that game 5 Marsh, and that's just Norse heaven there. But it'll be close. It'll be close. I'm going 3-2 Shelby. And you said 3-0. Aver, man. That is wild.
Give me your buddy, JJ.
Huh?
Give me your buddy, JJ.
It could be. It could be. Oh, man. I don't know. See, I'm in a predicament here. I don't know if I want the players that I beat to win, or if I just want them to lose. I don't know. But we got one last matchup. There's stuff to say about it. Nolas versus Chrono JJ. This is the only one that has been played so far. I don't really want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it yet. So obviously I can't give a prediction because I'll be right. But I will say this is what I'll give. This is my commentary going into this map set. Is when I played against Dauber, we were already guaranteed second or third, and we already knew who we would be playing against. I kind of wanted, like, in the back of my mind, to lose, because then I would have played Shelby instead of Nolas. Because going into this, I'm going to tell a secret, and I hope nobody remembers this for next season, but I'm terrible against Iranos, and Nolas plays a lot of Iranos.
I noticed that. I remember that next season.
Yes. Yes. I can't I don't know what it is. These Iranos players, they don't play like they used to. I'm used to the Iranos in like 2005 where they would just suicide units over and over and over and over and then try to get a Titan. And you could steal wins because they just threw away their entire army and then try to get a Titan. Now they actually play with a little bit more intelligently, where it's not just kamikaze
What?
Iranos. No, it's true though. And the problem for me, you can see on this left, this fourth line, very important. I'm old and I have kids, and I just don't get the reps I need. Just don't get the reps. But old and crafty, so I can still steal wins. The problem, though, when it comes to the postseason, is you can't pick maps. And I love being able to pick maps and kind of craft a special a home map. Here you can't. The maps are all randomly preset, so that hurts me a little bit. But yeah, it should be deservedly slow. I think maybe in the postseason you shouldn't be able to just pick a niche or kind of a comfort pick map and then just coast your way, or maybe coast your way. But yeah, this, and then also looking at Iranos versus Ra, some nice land maps for Nolas. And he's better than me too. So that was my analysis going in. Did I win? Did I lose? Maybe everybody knows and the secrecy isn't worth it, but yeah. But overall, fun event. Do you have any? Oh, I got stats to show you guys. I'm gonna try to see if it looks okay. I think it looks okay. So that's all the matchups. I guess, do you have any last comments about the matchups at all, Shadowfax?
What sort of matchup? What?
Well, just any thoughts on
Just
the playoffs, anything generally. If not, we can move on to the stats.
No, no, nothing on that.
So these stats, I hope you guys can see it. You should be able to. These are we have a very a fine fellow that helps collect a bunch of stats, and numbers are numbers, and really these aren't enough. It's not a large enough sample size to really prove anything. But it's still
This is
I'm a numbers guy. So this is champions and challengers all together. So on our left are the game picks for gods and then their win rating. So we're looking at Poseidon definitely needs a nerf because he had a 72% win. Now, that can't have anything to do with the fact that Matrius was just slamming everybody. It's not that Matrius is good, it's just that Poseidon's too strong. So we got to nerf Poseidon. Pretty clear.
yeah, agreed. Yeah.
The other one, but yeah, I think, yeah, definitely overall, Greek way over the 50% mark. Egyptian a little bit over. Norse a little bit under, and then Atlantean. Don't be fooled. Kronos look good, but the Iranos didn't look so good. But what these numbers do show though is that the variety between gods really good. We got 55, almost 70 for the Atlantean. We do have actually the most was the Norse, who were over 100. And then Egyptian was 66, so that was right about the same level as Atlantean. And then Greek was 60, 71, about 84. So in order of pick, you had Norse, Greek, Atlantean, Egyptian. And on the right side were all the maps. You can see the maps that were chosen, the maps that were banned. Medit was banned 27 times. But still picked 14. And then on the very right is the win percentage by the chooser. And you can see home map did have an advantage. Somebody did the math earlier. 64% home map win percentage throughout the entire season. Any numbers on here that kind of jump out to you or anything to kind of talk about?
Gaia got 2 wins. I don't remember there actually being 12 Gaia games. Don't know who's been taking Gaia. I didn't see a single one of them.
Bankiki played a lot of Gaia, and he led Gaia to a lot of losses. Bless his heart. I think he was 0-8.
You can definitely tell the favorite gods of each civ, which is no surprise: Zeus, Ra, Odin, and Iranos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite surprised that Kronos got so close, though, to Iranos in terms of games played.
Yeah, that was a lot of 9 racing, Cat.
Bit of
And
cheese
me.
on water maps, I guess.
And me.
Kronos.
I had a cheese. Let's see, who did I cheese a win against with Kronos? Let me think. Let me think.
I wonder.
Oh man, the old Kronos cheese. I knew I couldn't go raw on Medic because my raw sucks on Medic. But yeah, I mean, overall, what we were looking for, the reason we introduced the ban was because last season, 3 maps accounted for over 50% of our games. And that's why we introduced the ban this season, and it helped because last season it was Oasis, Medit, and Marsh were our top 3 by a long shot. And we can see that Marsh was still the top, but then Medit and Oasis went down, and we had a lot more maps kind of mixed in and a lot more non-standard maps. So it was a good map variety. So that's about it. Any last thoughts? Shadow facts. Oh, you know what? You can tell me some last thoughts. I'm gonna look something up quick.
Yeah, I really like the ban system. I think that was a great idea. Mediterranean was a bit overpicked. People seem to really like that map. I chose it a lot myself.
A lot of people banned Savannah because they didn't want to play. Yes, I'm almost done. The wife has given me the timer here. Almost done.
Why are they banning Savannah?
Yeah, why would people ban Savannah? That's a question in chat.
No. I don't like Savannah. It's so inconsistent. Often comes down to who scouts the hunt first.
Yeah, if it doesn't start your starting line of sight. But the one thing, we'll close it up here just real quick. Bring you guys into the slideshow here. But official prize distribution, I'll go over that real quick. First place in the champions gets 500. Second, 250. Third, 115. Fourth, 65. Yeah, throw that extra 5 on there. And then we have a $50 fan favorite. We'll do some voting for that soon. And then the challenger champion also gets $50. So the grand total, $1,028, and the vast majority of it, $1,000, was from Boit, who is one of the tourney hosts, and the other $28 was from Hell's Ravage. So thanks to Hell's Ravage, and of course thanks to Boit for donating the money to make this happen. And I also appreciate all of the people who have helped so far. A lot of streamers have streamed. I think we've only had like 2 matches that weren't streamed live. And then a lot of people helping behind the scenes as well. So I want to thank everybody that has helped, everybody that has streamed, and thank Shadowfax for joining me tonight. If not in person, I got open spots on my chair back here on the couch, but you couldn't make I guess you didn't think this was important enough to make the trip.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for letting me come on. It was good fun. Yeah, I'll probably kick your ass in the predictions. So
no, you won't. Will not. Will
probably
not.
forget that you lost anyway because of the dementia.
Yeah, by the time this time tomorrow, I'll think I've picked something completely different. But that's it for tonight. Appreciate all you guys who tuned in to watch, and then also all you guys later that'll watch, hopefully. Hope you guys enjoyed our little playoff preview. And thanks, Shadowfax, for joining me. So that's it for tonight. Appreciate everybody. Have a good one.